Welcome along to the deep dive. We're jumping straight into the sources you've shared today. Looks like a whole stack of F1 blogs and reports, all focused on the Formula One Monaco Grand Prix qualifying. That's today, May 24, 2025.
Yeah, that's right. These cover everything, really, lap by lap, from the start of Q1 through Q2, and right up to that, well, pretty intense fight for pole position on those famous Monte Carlo streets.
Okay, so our mission here, as always, is to unpack the really key moments, any surprises, and there were a few, and obviously dramatic final results that set the grid for tomorrow's big race. Basically, get you fully up to speed on what went down.
And, well, there's no qualifying session quite like Monaco, is there? I mean, the sources really hammer home why grid position is just so vital here.
Absolutely. Overtaking is, famously tough.
Yeah, almost impossible, really, unless there's a big mistake or like a safety car bunch-up.
Yeah.
If you start out of position, your race is pretty much compromised right from the lights.
Totally. And the build-up, even from free practice, kind of set the scene, didn't it? We saw Charles Leclerc looking, well, incredibly strong.
Topped FP3.
Yeah, and the reports definitely had him pegged as the favorite before quali started, especially, the local hero factor.
But practice wasn't exactly smooth sailing for everyone. Lewis Hamilton had a pretty significant crash in FP3. Needed major repairs, apparently.
Right, which is never what you want going into qualifying on a street circuit. Tight margins.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And Oscar Piastri had a bit of a scare, too. Touched the wall. Just reminded everyone how quickly things can go wrong here.
And then there was penalty news before we even got going. Lance Stroll, he had that one-place grid drop already confirmed from something earlier.
Yep. And there was that whole investigation into Carlos Sainz and Franco Colapinto possibly overtaking under reds in FP2.
Ah, yeah. What happened with that?
Well, the sources say no action for them in the end. But Ollie Beerman did get hit with a 10th-place penalty for the same thing.
Ouch. So he was already on the back foot going into Q1.
Massively, yeah.
Okay, so let's get into Q1 then. Seemed like everyone was really eager to get out on track straight away.
Yeah, it's all about traffic, isn't it? Trying to find a clear bit of track on such a short lap is, well, it's key. We saw a bit of variation on tires early on, too. Alpine went out on mediums initially.
But most others were straight onto the softs.
Yeah, pretty much everyone else. And you saw the time start to tumble pretty quickly as drivers got into the rhythm. Leclerc looked quick. Norris, too, right from the off.
But the walls were always close. Fernando Alonso had a bit of a moment, didn't he?
He did, yeah. Grazed the wall at Santa Devota. Looked like a close call, but somehow he kept it going.
Phew. And Sainz was having a bit of a struggle early on.
Yeah, the reports showed him sort of hovering near that drop zone for a bit. Needed to find some pace.
And then, the first major interruption. Red flag.
Yep. Kimi Antonelli crashed his Mercedes at the chicane just after the tunnel.
Okay. How bad was it?
Reports said he damaged the steering and, hit the wall pretty hard.
Right. So tough break for him. And the consequence of that red flag stopping things early.
Well, technically, his time up to that point was good enough for P15, so he made Q2 on paper. But the car was too damaged, so he couldn't actually run in Q2. Session over.
Got it. So who else was out then at the end of Q1?
Okay, let's see. Sources list Gabriel Bortoleto in P16, then Ollie Beerman P17 before his penalty, obviously. Pierre Gasly P18, Lance Stroll P19, and Franco Colapinto was P20.
Right, so they were done for the day. Okay, moving into Q2. Pressure definitely ramping up after they cleared Antonelli's car.
Oh, yeah. Session restarts. And again, a mix of tires, but mostly softs by now, really. Everyone trying to guarantee that Q3 spot.
And then, almost straight away, disaster strikes again. Another red flag.
Yep. This time, George Russell's Mercedes ground to a halt in the tunnel.
In the tunnel? Wow, what was the issue there?
Looks like a power loss, maybe a battery problem, based on the reports. Just lost drive.
So hang on. With Antonelli already effectively out?
Exactly. Russell's stopping meant both Mercedes cars were now out of Q3. Russell classified P14, Antonelli P15. Just a really, really difficult session for them.
Yeah, difficult feels like an understatement. Okay, so after that restart, it must have been absolutely frantic for everyone else trying to make the top 10.
Totally. A real dash. Leclerc, he kept showing that strong pace early on his softs. Hamilton looked like he'd found something quicker than in practice. Norris was improving, too.
What about the Spanish drivers? You mentioned Alonso earlier.
Yeah, Alonso, he managed to dig deep and find the time, pull out a good lap, secured his place in Q3. Job done for him.
But not for Carlos Sainz.
No, he missed out, finished P11, and the gap was tiny, like just over 1/10 of a second away from making it.
Wow. That's brutal around Monaco.
Isn't it just? Reports mentioned him on the radio talking about lack of grip. Missing Q3 here, yeah, that really puts you in a tough spot for the race.
For sure. Okay, so who else missed the cut in Q2?
Yuki Tsunoda ended up P12.
Yeah.
And Nico Hülkenberg was P13. And then, as we said, Russell and Antonelli were P14 and P15 because of their issues.
Right. Got it. So, on to Q3. The final showdown. 10 drivers left, fighting for pole. Let's see. Norris, Leclerc, Albon, Piastri, Verstappen, Hamilton, Hadjar, Alonso, Lawson, and Ocon. Quite a mix in there.
It really was. And this is where, the risks go up another notch. Everyone pushing absolutely flat.
Saw reports Piastri had another little moment.
Yeah, touched the yellow curb coming out of the tunnel exit on one lap. Just shows how on the edge they all were.
Yeah.
But he kept it going.
Okay, so the final runs. How did the pole battle play out?
Well, Lando Norris put down a really strong marker first. Looked good.
Okay.
Then Charles Leclerc responds, goes quicker, puts the Ferrari on provisional pole, 1.90.063, and you can imagine the home crowd went wild, according to the blog commentary.
Yeah, I must have thought that was it.
You'd think so. But Norris, he wasn't done. His final lap, absolutely stunning, a 1.09.954. Yeah, just phenomenal. One source even mentioned it might be a new track record, snatched pole position right back at the death, beat Leclerc by just over a tenth.
Wow. Okay, that is dramatic. So let's just run through that final top 10 grid then, based on the sources.
Okay, number 1, Lando Norris for McLaren.
Pole position.
Number 2, Charles Leclerc, Ferrari.
Heart rate for him.
Number 3, Oscar Piastri, also McLaren. Great result for them.
Yep, double top 3.
Number 4, Lewis Hamilton and the Mercedes recovered well to get there after the FP3 crash.
True.
Number 5, Max Verstappen, Red Bull. Maybe not where he expected, but P5.
Still in the mix.
Number 6, Isaac Hadjar for RB. Fantastic result for him.
Yeah, really impressive.
Number 7, Fernando Alonso, Aston Martin.
Right behind Hadjar.
Number 8, Esteban Ocon and the Alpine.
Good showing.
Number 9, Liam Lawson, the other RB.
Both RBs in the top 10.
And number 10, Alexander Albon for Williams.
Solid. Okay, that's the top 10. And you mentioned Piastri was close.
Yeah, incredibly close. His P3 time was only like 0.015 seconds slower than Norris's first fast lap in Q3. So really tight at the front.
And Alonso P7, how close was he to Hadjar?
Get this, just 1,000th of a second behind Hadjar in P6. The margins were just razor thin all through that top group.
Unbelievable. What about driver reactions? Did the sources pick up anything interesting?
Yeah, a few bits. Lando Norris, obviously happy. Said he sort of built up his confidence through the session, didn't take huge risks until that final Q3 lap when it really counted.
Smart approach here. And Leclerc.
Understandably frustrated, really. Apparently, he mentioned making a mistake on his first Q3 run that cost him time, and he knows starting second here is, well, way harder than starting first.
Yeah, no doubt. And Piastri?
He described it as pretty intense, which, it looked it. Admitted making a small error himself, but still quite happy with P3, which is a great spot for McLaren.
Okay, so let's sort of tie this all together from this deep dive into the reports. Big headline. Lando Norris takes a pretty dramatic pole right at the end, denying the home hero, Charles Leclerc.
Definitely the main story. But also, McLaren and Ferrari locking out that front row P1, P2, P3 that says a lot about their pace this weekend.
And on the flip side, Mercedes having, well, a disastrous session. Both cars out with issues before Q3 even started.
Yeah, really tough for them. And Carlos Sainz missing out on Q3 and P11, that's significant too, especially given Ferrari's general pace.
True. And we should probably mention Alonso again, fighting his way to P7, just milliseconds off P6, still showing that class.
Absolutely. So looking ahead to the race tomorrow, this grid setup is just critical, isn't it? Because as the sources keep saying, passing is just so incredibly difficult here.
Yeah, the start is going to be absolutely everything. Get away clean in the lead, and you're in a very strong position.
Exactly. Tire strategy will play a role, of course, managing track position, but maybe less dramatically than other places. It's all about that start and avoiding mistakes.
This specific lineup, Norris, Leclerc, Piastri, it really does set up a potentially fascinating, maybe quite tense race day.
It really does. You've got Norris on pole, Leclerc desperate to win at home right alongside him in second, and Piastri right there in third, ready to pick up any pieces.
So here's the final thought then, building on these sources. Given how hard it is to pass in Monaco, what kind of race does this grid actually suggest we'll get? Do you think Norris can just control it from the front and drive off?
Or good strategy, maybe a perfectly timed pit stop under safety car, or just one tiny error from one of those front guys completely shuffle the deck. What outcome are you expecting after seeing how qualifying unfolded?
That is the big question for tomorrow, isn't it? Fascinating stuff. Thanks for bringing all these reports for us to dive into.